This is Mac from JLPTbootcamp.com here with another N5 grammar lesson. This time I'm going to go over some simple Japanese for beginners that are just starting out. This time I'm going to go over some present tense verbs, how to use them, casual and formal. But first, I'm going to take you on a little trip. Please imagine you are traveling around Japan and you are at the beach and you happen to meet a beautiful woman while traveling. And she says, "Konnichiwa." You return, "Konnichiwa." And so first, sugoi, she said hello to you, now what? And she's points at your book and asks, "Hon o yomu no?" And you reply, yomu. And this yomu is the plain dictionary form used in casual situations. And it's the form of the verb that's in the dictionary. You haven't changed it at all. So for example, if you want to talk about playing tennis, you play tennis as a hobby, you can say tenisu o suru. So I play tennis. In a casual situation, this is used with friends, close friends, anything outside of a business situation. So if you're chatting online, or if you're kind of just talking informally with someone, almost even a stranger that you meet, you might use this language. Although sometimes they'll use the more formal tense that we'll go over here in a little bit. But if you're using Japanese purely for fun and you're not going to be using it in too many business situations, this is probably what you're going to hear most talking to your friends, this dictionary form. You got past that. Now she's pointing at the beach and swinging her arms around, and she asks, "Oyogu no?" And what does that mean? Oh, right, swimming. She wants to go swimming, but you don't. So you say, "Gomen, oyoge nai," and of course she's very sad. She's thinking to herself, "Oh, Sanen, that's too bad. I really wanted to go swimming with this guy." But you managed to survive by using the plain dictionary negative form. And this is used in casual situations as well. This is a little bit, actually a lot more complicated than the positive, the regular dictionary form. When you're switching it to negative, there's actually 3 types of verbs that you need to know about. The most common one is sometimes called type 1, or this is sometimes called a godan verb, which is a term that is only used by Japanese learners. It's not actually something that native Japanese would know. So if you talk to a native Japanese person and you ask them, is this a godan verb? They will have no idea what you're talking about. But in some textbooks, this is called godan. But this is the most common kind of verb. For example, we have here iku, meaning to go. And you take that last kana, ku, and you change it to the ah sound. So ku becomes ka, becomes ika. And then ika, you add nai to the end of that. So you have ikanai. And that means I don't go, basically. The negative form of the verb iku. So for example here, this sentence, doyobi ni wa kaisha ni ikanai. And doyobi is, of course, Saturday. Ni is the time marker. Wa is there to add a little bit of extra emphasis. It's not required, but it's there to mean, usually I work, but on Saturday I don't. Kaisha is a company, and kaisha ni is you're going to the place, the directional particle, and ikanai is the ending verb there, meaning not I don't go. Now for type 2, these are sometimes called ichidan verbs. Again, that's a term only used by Japanese learners. And these verbs are a little bit easier to conjugate because you don't have to actually change anything. You just cut off the ru and add nai. So taberu becomes tabe, becomes tabenai. And these are a little strange to recognize. You're going to have to learn them This is one of those small irregularities in the Japanese language. Mostly, the rule of thumb is if it ends with iru, like this one, taberu, or iru, iru in Japanese pronunciation. One of those two endings, there's a good chance it's a type 2 verb. There's exceptions to that rule, though. So just be aware that not all verbs are like that. You're going to have to experiment with this, make some mistakes, and kind of check and double check occasionally when you learn a new verb to make sure you're conjugating it correctly. So, for example, if you wanted to use tabenai in a sentence, you could say makuro do narudo de tabenai. I don't eat at McDonald's. And this is, as you can see, the katakana for McDonald's is very different from what we would say in English. And so this is why McDonald's are everywhere in Japan, but a lot of Japanese will not recognize when you say, oh, let's go to McDonald's. They don't know what McDonald's is, even though it's everywhere, because completely different sound in katakana. Now, the final type of verbs are irregular. In these, there's only two of them, suru and kuru. Suru becomes shi, and then you add nai, you have shinai. For simple, the negative plain dictionary form. Kuru becomes ko, you have konai, and that's the plain or dictionary negative form of kuru, to come. Suru is to do or play, or has a couple different translations depending on the situation, but it's only these two verbs. So for example, you can say amari benkyou shinai. Amari benkyou shinai. I don't study very much. I party a lot. Anyway, let's get back to the beach. So this beautiful woman that you just met, she looks a little disappointed, but takes you to an older guy. Oh wait, it's her dad. So you better be polite. And her dad amazingly looks like the current Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe. And he asks you, biru o nomimasu ka? And you reply, hai, nomimasu. Do you drink beer? Yes, I do drink beer. Now, you'll notice here that Mr. Abe here used ka at the end of the question. And in the previous conversation, the younger woman used no. No, I believe, is usually not in any N5 textbooks, but basically no is the informal question marker. And you will probably not hear it on the test, but when you're out and about, that's the question marker that most people will use in a casual situation. Whereas ka goes along with this mas form to form questions. Basically, they're both question markers. They carry the same meaning, but ka is used in kind of formal situations, whereas no is used more in casual situations. Anyway, for verb polite form, again, you have to do a little bit of changing here. For the type 1 verbs, the regular verbs, if you will, you have to change the last kana to the i sound. So iku becomes iki, and then you add mas, so ikimasu. And this is for a lot of verbs that have that ending. For example, iku or motsu, so mochimasu. He would change that last sound into the e sound for the to make this formal conjugation. So, for example, the example sentence here is tokidoki eiga ni ikimasu. I go to the movies from time to time. And again, with type 2 verbs, another type 2 verb that's commonly used is neru, to sleep. And with these, again, it's a very simple way to make these. You just cut off the ru. You have neru, which is how you pronounce that first kanji. Then ne, and then nemasu is the full form, the full formal form for this verb for type 2s. For example, mainichi 10 ni nemasu. I go to bed at 10 every day. And of course, we need to conjugate the irregular forms, suru and kuru. Again, suru becomes shi, and kuru becomes ki. So suru becomes shimasu, kuru becomes kimasu. For example, tomodachi ga kimasu. My friend is coming to the party or coming to meet us here, wherever we happen to be. And that's it. Again, those are the two irregular ones. So now, going back to the beach, her dad puts on some dance music and asks you, dansu shimasu ka? And you reply, dansu shimasen. You don't want to dance with this guy. And again, this is the negative form. This is very easy to form. You basically just cut off the su and you add sen. So ikimasu, cut off the su, ikima, add sen. You have ikimasen. Ikimasen. For example, ashita gakko e ikimasen. I will not go to school tomorrow. And that's it. That's how you form the negative formal conjugation of verbs. You basically just have to cut off the su and add sen. So there you go. Phew! You survived your first encounter, speaking some Japanese to a beautiful woman and a guy that looks a lot like the current Prime Minister of Japan. So, do you remember all that though? Again, for the verb, plain dictionary forms, basically if it's the positive form, you just take what's in the dictionary and use that. If it's the negative form, type 2s, you have to change ku to ka. You have to change it to the kana, and add nai. With type 2 verbs, you just have to cut off the ru and add nai. And with suru and kuru, you just have to change it to shi, ko, and add nai. So suru becomes shinai, kuru becomes konai. And then for formal situations, you have to use the polite form, which again you have to do a little bit of changing with type 1s. You have to change the last kana into the e. And for type 2s, you just cut off the ru and add mas. Suru, kuru becomes shimasu and kimasu. And to make the negative form, all you got to do is change su to sen. Do you know anyone that is just starting out studying Japanese? If you do, they might appreciate this video to give them a little bit of boost, learning how to use the present tense verbs. Send them a link to this video and help them out. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. This has been a grammar explanation video from the JLPT Bootcamp Premium site. Inside the site, you will find some extra goodies, for example, some cheat sheets for all of the videos. And those cheat sheets include a few things. For example, some common mistakes that people make, as well as some example test questions for the JLPT. If you're interested in taking the JLPT and you want that extra edge, something to kind of push you above and get the points that you need to pass, I encourage you to stop by the website at jlptbootcamp.com/premium. There you can find the cheat sheets as well as some extra practice with the grammar points that I've been talking about today. Hope to see you in the premium site very soon. This has been Mac from jlptbootcamp.com.